Hi everybody, welcome to another evening with Sips tonight. We're playing Oxygen Not Include. Wow, man, it's the latest Klei game. The guys who do Don't Starve have been working on this new game. They announced it some time back. They've been doing streams showing it off and stuff, and it's in pre-alpha, whatever the fuck pre-alpha means, but who cares, right? It's playable, it's pretty solid. There's not that many bugs that I've noticed. I've been playing it all weekend so far, and man, I've really been enjoying it, and I was really looking forward to it. And they sent me a key. They're like, hey, Sips, what's up? Here's a key for this new game that you've been waiting for. And I was like, hell yes. Installed it straight away and started playing it. And now here we are, about to check it out on an Evening with Sips. So a little bit of a deviation from the usual format. Normally, I've never played the game before I play it. I suck really bad at it. This time, I'm going to show you this game. I had played it before, and I still suck at it. But, man, it's really good. It's, think RimWorld meets Terraria meets a fucking, like, a bunch of other games, and it looks a lot like Don't Starve. Like, the art style is the exact same and everything. It's awesome. It's really good. Okay, let's do it. We're going to do a new game. We're going to just generate a world, and we're going to superheat the gases. It's all about, funnily enough, oxygen and other gases. Like, you have to, it's a space colony builder, and you have to be very wary of oxygen and other gases, liquids as well, resources. It's a tough game. Even now, it's not easy. Things can go very badly very quickly. Here we are. We're assembling our crew to begin. These are our 3 dudes who are going to start this space colony from scratch. We have Ellie, we got Stinky, and we got Fergus. Ellie's a level 7 runner. She's very athletic. She has the twinkle toes trait. She's light as a feather on her feet, which means that she'll probably run faster than the rest of them. Sadly for Ellie, though, she also has flatulence. So maybe that's why she runs so fast, because she's constantly trumping all over the place. Anyway, Stinky is a level 7 scientist. He's got diver's lungs. This duplicate may have been a talented opera singer in another life. His air consumption rate is better than the other ones. I don't know what minus 25.0 G/S means, okay? I'm a simpleton. Get back to me if you know. But anyway, he's also a yokel. He isn't the brightest star in the sky, and he cannot perform the researching job as a result. That's not too bad. We've also got Fergus here, level 4 artist. He's a night owl. He does his best work when he's supposed to be sleeping. Great. But he's also a mouth breather. And he ends up sucking way more than their fair share of oxygen. His air consumption rate is like quadruple or more than that of Stinky's. So we're going to need more oxygen for this guy. And there's some additional stuff down here. And the name of our colony is going to be randomly called the Not So Systematic Rat's Nest. We can change that to whatever we want. We can change these guys' names as well. But you know what? I'm quite happy with the Not So Systematic Rat's Nest, and also Ellie, Stinky, and Fergus. I'm pleased to meet you, and we're ready to go. Let's embark. Oh man, here we go. This is it. This is it, ladies and gents. Okay, are you ready to build a colony? Because I sure am. Alert, your crew has awoken miles beneath the surface of an unfamiliar terrestrial body. Oddly, they have no recollection of how they got here. It might be best to start digging. And that's what we're going to do. Nice. Okay, let's quickly just pause the game so that things don't get too ahead of us and take a look around, okay? We're in a cave. This thing is the printing pod. We're going to get new guys coming out of this at fairly regular intervals. But for now, we're stuck with Ellie, Stinky, and Fergus, okay? We have a ration box here as well, which is storing some food. There's going to be some emergency rations, and also any food that we produce ourselves, we can put in there, okay? We got some copper ore here, it looks like, some coal. This is pretty useful stuff. We've got some algae as well. This stuff is super useful for producing oxygen, which we're going to need. But if we look at this overlay here right now, our oxygen overlay, we are currently sitting in a pocket of very breathable oxygen, okay? With only a slight little tiny bit of carbon dioxide, which is unbreathable. But that's natural, right? Because these guys exhale carbon dioxide. So you can always expect like a small trace amount of carbon dioxide. But as we'll soon find out, well, maybe not in this video, but later on in the game, oxygen does become quite the problem. Staying on top of it becomes pretty tricky, and you have to really manage it well. Anyway, let's let these guys get on. If I press G, I can dig stuff. So here they go. They've got like little Ghostbuster beams. They can start digging stuff. This is sandstone. It's pretty good. It's building material. We can build stuff with the sandstone. We can start carving our way out of here. Look at this stuff here. Oxalite. It's a consumable ore. We can dig it. But actually, it's producing oxygen right now. It's probably the only thing that's keeping this pocket going right now. So we'll hang on to it. It'll deplete after a while, but for now, it's probably okay. Now, we need to think about where we want to go. And I think where we probably want to go is up. So if I go to base here, I can build a ladder, and I can build it all the way in here. And these guys are just going to get on it right away. They're going to use the sandstone. See, they're going to start constructing a ladder. So we can get up here and we can get some of this copper. Copper we're going to need to build like some cool machines, like a research lab, like a food maker, a bunch of other stuff. Another thing that we're going to have to think about doing is creating a toilet as well. Because we don't want these guys pooing and peeing all over the place. Sadly, they'll contaminate the water. And also, their poo and pee will start contaminating the air as well. So we want to make sure that we avoid that. They've got a little bit of time before they're going to need to relieve themselves, but if we don't build them a toilet, they will just pee and poo on the floor. And that's a big no-no, okay? We're trying to start a society here. Effectively, these three people who don't even know each other are forced to live together. And there's going to need to be some rules, some ground rules at least. And I think the number one rule in our constitution of this new society is going to be that there will be no defecating on the ground of the base. Okay, let's put some tiles down so that these people can move around a bit faster and have something nicer to walk on. And we'll go into plumbing here and we'll set up an outhouse. We'll set up this outhouse like right here because they're going to need to use it pretty soon. So the outhouse, everything in this game needs a resource and usually has some sort of byproduct that it produces, right? So the outhouse, the poo and the pee goes in, and out of it becomes contaminated soil. So you need to put some dirt into the outhouse to absorb up all the poo and the pee, and then that dirt becomes contaminated. Eventually the outhouse fills up, somebody's got to empty it out, and you have to do something with this contaminated soil. You have to put it somewhere or process it. We can make it into fertilizer later on. We could just get rid of it. We could throw it into like this body of water here and it'll contaminate the water and make it disgusting and useless. But then we could filter it out and turn it back into regular water after if we want to. There's a whole bunch of different options later on in the game. But you sort of have to build your base around some of these considerations. Like finding some water is pretty useful. Being close to like this stuff, the algae, is pretty useful because that's how we're going to start producing our oxygen in the first place. And then move into using water to do it after, which is probably a little bit better. But anyway, let's keep carving out a tunnel here so that we can make like a bit of a base. And then we'll set up like some power. And we'll also set up, hey look, they're thinking about going to the toilet, but they're not quite ready to go to the toilet just yet. As long as they're only thinking about it, that's probably fine. Okay, Fergus, Stinky, and Ellie. Just casually doing some mining. We don't want to break into this because we don't want the water to leak out. And actually, I think it can start leaking out of one tile. So what we're going to do is, I think we're going to cancel this order here. And instead, we're going to make a wall here. We're gonna build a wall and we're going to contain all of this liquid. And then use it later on. Because we don't want water getting into here. We don't want it to get like into the toilet or anything. Well, I guess maybe we do want to get some water into the toilet. But because it's an outhouse, that water's just going to sit there. It's got nowhere to go. There's nowhere to flush it. There's no way to get rid of it right now. Only later on, when we have a proper outhouse, can we plumb in some water to come in and some waste to go out and stuff like that. And you can do that. And honestly, it's the most satisfying thing in the goddamn world in this game. You can make a shower as well and plumb that too. If you've never plumbed a toilet or a shower before in a video game, now's your chance, and honestly, it's the most fantastic thing. Like, it'll leave you feeling like a goddamn king. It's crazy. I didn't think it was possible, but when I got to the point where I could do it, holy crap, I was elated. Like, I was actually super, super stoked about it. It was nuts. Perfect. All right. Wall, pretty much complete. That's nice. We're going to set up some rudimentary power, but it turns out actually that this power is probably the best in the game right now. In its early stages. Maybe there'll be some better stuff later on, but for now... Oh, you know what? Actually, we can't build anything yet because we actually need some metal. Copper will do. So we're going to go for this. It's the manual generator, which is basically a hamster wheel for humans. They run around on it and they'll generate a lot of electricity. And then we can start hooking some stuff up. Like, we'll make one of these things here. If we go into oxygen, this algae deoxidizer. It's going to convert algae into oxygen, and it'll become idle when the room enters a maximum air pressure range, which takes a little while. And you can expand the room out when it reaches that if you want to keep producing oxygen after that. We have to constantly look at this overlay to see where we're at with oxygen. So far we're okay, and I think it's because of this stuff. This stuff is producing a lot of oxygen. These guys are intaking and exhaling and stuff like that, but it's just about keeping things going. This pocket over here sees like dark blue. It's breathable. This light blue stuff's very breathable. But look, we can already see that there's carbon dioxide creeping up here. It's becoming barely breathable in some areas. So we're going to want to get one of these algae deoxidizers up and running fairly soon. The other thing as well is we're going to... Actually, I think, you know what we'll do? Let's get rid of all this and we'll put the power like up here. We want to make this room very breathable. And then we want like, I guess carbon dioxide's heavier than air, right? So it'll tend to move downwards. So we could try to get like a ladder going down here, possibly. Maybe that's a good idea. Carve out like a little ladder here and hope that it just like goes down here and settles like in here and down here. And that should be fine. And then we'll try to keep all of the oxygen on this level. And maybe up here as well. But we're going to have somebody running on a hamster wheel. And he's going to be breathing like there's no tomorrow. And producing a whole bunch of CO2 as well. So it'll like hopefully come down here. So you got to think of this stuff. Later on we can get like gas pipes and vents and stuff like that. To help sort of move these gases around. But as it stands now. And we haven't researched anything yet. These people are like kind of like up shit's creek, right? So we have to just like make the best of a bad situation sort of thing. We'll put a ladder here as well. I mean, it'll be good to get down to some of this water too. Eventually, when we get some toilets with plumbing and stuff, we're going to need to find a place for all of the waste to go. So like a big cavern like this is not a bad shout. And then we can have something that sort of purifies all of that contaminated water, turns it back into good water, and then dump it into like here. We can make like a big swimming pool. Like we can build these walls like all around it and just have like a big liquid storage container. That comes later as well. We're getting like a little bit ahead of ourselves. For now, we just need to collect some minerals and stuff, and we just need to carry on sort of building up the base, as it were. Okay, we'll go for some tiles. We'll go for some tiles up here. We'll leave this stuff intact for now and then just let it deplete naturally because it is producing oxygen. We'll get a hamster wheel up here. We'll hook it up to some batteries, and this will be like our power generation area. And then we can run wires to the places that needs it. So like we'll have to run a wire to an oxidizer over here and maybe over here as well. And we'll speed up time as well because these guys are sleeping. We can make beds for them later, but right now it's not like top priority because they're fine sleeping on the ground. Like they'll have sore backs, they'll be uncomfortable, they'll start to become miserable and stuff, but it's not going to kill them. And that's really what it takes to balance a young budding space colony. If it doesn't kill them, it can't be that bad. I think that's like the rule of thumb, right? Like if I was to build a skyscraper or like a shopping mall or something like that, and I had a bunch of people working on it, and they didn't have like a home or anywhere to like lay their head at night or whatever, and they just had to sleep in the unfinished floors of like the shopping mall or the skyscraper or whatever. In real life, I would take the same approach. I would say, look it guys, I know it's bad. I know it really sucks the bag, but you know what? You're not dead, so it can't be that bad. And you know what? We got to finish this skyscraper because, you know, there's a lot of people out there counting on us and stuff and whatnot. And, you know, maybe they would just walk off like in a gigantic riot or like some sort of labor dispute and say, you know what? Build a skyscraper yourself, you stupid son of a bitch, I'm not helping you anymore. But I'm sure that there's some people out there possibly that would be committed to maybe making a skyscraper, working on it for free, also providing the materials as well, and then quite happy with me naming it after myself as well. I'll have to look around and find these people, but I'm sure they exist. Anyway, We got jobs to do. It looks like Ellie is, I don't know what she's doing. She's idle. There are jobs to do. Think she might be stuck up there, actually. I don't even know how she got up there, but we'll make a ladder for her, I guess, and see if she can get down. She might, starve up there. She's got dirty hands. She's grimy. She's got a sore back. She can't reach food. Also a full bladder. So she's about to piss her pants. And that's going to go everywhere and contaminate this ground. So it's very important that we... As soon as Stinky's done in the toilet and Fergus finishes up this top priority ladder construction job, we rescue Ellie. Because I don't even know how that happened, but she's in a pretty bad way. And honestly, we could use the extra pair of hands. Good job, Stinky and Fergus. Look, 2 white knights. The 2 white knights of the colony getting in there to help Ellie. Ellie's going to be able to make her way down and go to the bathroom. I think that's going to be the first thing she's going to want to do. She finally dropped down. That's great. Okay, Ellie. In you go. It looks like this is naturally depleted as well, so let's put another tile here. Ellie is going to relieve herself in the right place and not screw up the whole base with a clear infringement of the constitution of our colony, which I can't even remember the name of it. What is it called? Like the not so secure rat's nest or something like that? It was something rat's nest, right? But I can't quite remember what it is. Anyway. Alright, manual generator. Let's do it. We'll set it up here. Let's get a tiny battery next to it as well. So the battery is going to store like the runoff power that the wheel generates, right? And then it means that when these guys are asleep and nobody's running on the hamster wheel, we'll have some power for these things, these deoxidizers that we're going to set up. An algae deoxidizer. Such a cool name, isn't it? And in the meantime as well, once that's all set up, we're going to have to start mining out some of this stuff. We're going to need some of this algae here. And then we're going to have to probably dig down and grab some of this algae here too. So we're going to have to make a ladder to get down there. We might as well mine out all of this copper as well. Most of the stuff just sit on the floor for now, but we can set up some storage containers later so that these guys can start picking some of this stuff up and storing it in like a more central place. So otherwise they're going to have to run out here every time and pick up like these little nuggets off the ground, and it's not super efficient. It's a little bit of a waste of time as well, so I'll have to fix that before long. Anyway, electrical wire, yes. We're going to run the electrical wire from the wheel to the battery. And as soon as somebody is up for working on that one, cool. And then once that's done, we're going to want this deoxidizer. We're going to set it up here, like right in the middle of the room. And it's going to just produce that sweet, sweet oxygen that we need for the colony to continue to survive. How is this looking now? Aha, yes. See, the CO2 is dropping down. It's finding a way. CO2 always finds a way. And see, the oxygen is sitting up here nicely. So currently it looks like all of the CO2 is going down here and it's just ending up here. And this is all unbreathable, but actually there's water down here as well, so it's pretty unbreathable anyways. And this is a pretty good spot for it. Nobody's really going to go down here that much. They're going to have to come down here to fetch water every once in a while, but luckily these guys are made of the tough stuff. They can handle occasionally not breathing and stuff. They can hold their breath and do jobs at a push. But, you know, obviously they're not going to be able to work all day without any air. So we have to be mindful of that. Great. We'll run this wire down here, hook this up. We've got some algae as well, so these guys can come here and pick it up. Fill up the old deoxidizer here, and then with enough power and somebody running on the wheel. I think somebody was running on the wheel. I just didn't notice it, but the battery is totally full here, which is good. That means that this thing is going to be able to start working straight away once it gets the algae. And of course, once the wire is hooked up to it as well. So pipes work the same way. You can pipe gas and liquid in this game. Very satisfying. It's very fun. Oh man, can they not reach that? That's annoying, actually. That means that we're gonna have to make like a little maintenance access area here to get to it, which is not the best. And all that just to get this last piece of electrical wire. Look, it's too high for them to get it from the ground here, and I don't think that they can go through 2 tiles like from up here, sadly. So unfortunately, them's the breaks. So we're just gonna have to do it. Look, they actually look like Ghostbusters, don't they? Just like busting copper, but not ghosts. But the little guns are pretty cool, aren't they? Okay, Stinky is going to make the maintenance shaft. It's slowly going to get rid of all the crap that's in the way, like the sand that's falling down. And hopefully, yeah, there we go. So he's going to go in there. Perfect. And then he's going to go down and fix it up. I mean, we're just going to replace all this stuff with tile anyway. It doesn't really matter. But here we go. He's delivered the copper. And now he can do it. And then we should finally get this oxidizer. Sorry, deoxidizer. Started. Perfect. Okay, so it just needs some material delivery. That's the algae. Looks like Stinky has gone to pick it up as well. He's got 100 kilograms of this stuff in a backpack that he's going to hand deliver. And that's generally how stuff works in this game. These guys will just go off and do the thing. Perfect. Nice. Okay, we're now producing oxygen. It's like the earliest and most efficient way of doing it. But the thing is, every time this thing runs out of algae, it needs to be restocked. And as you can see, like looking around the map, there's some of it. But I mean, there's not much of it. You know, we'd have to go all the way up here to get more of it here. There's a little bit here. It's quite a bit here, but it's kind of a pain to get down here, mine it out and stuff like that. But luckily, later on, after we've done some research, we can get some better options for this. Like we can get like a hydrolyzer, which we can pump water into, and that'll produce oxygen. It'll convert the liquid water into oxygen for us. And it doesn't need the algae. See, I mean, there's water everywhere, right? And even contaminated water we can change into, like, good water. Look, there's a fish in here. It's a puffed. Nice. I don't know if, like, we uncontaminate the water here if this guy dies or whatever, but there are hostiles. You have to, like, be careful. There's little aliens and stuff all over the place. We got to do some farming and stuff at some point as well, and we're going to need some food. We can use this microbe musher in the first instance, and we should probably build one right now. See, we've got, like, this much food. These are the calories that we have available right now because we have 18 field rations. But we're going to have to... We're going to blow through that fairly quickly. These guys eat like about once a day. But we're going to have to get a stockpile of other stuff. And this thing means that we can mush microbes. And basically what that means is water and dirt made into like dirt bars. And that's what they eat. And it gives them diarrhea, which makes them use this a lot more. And it means that we're going to have even more contaminated soil that we're going to have to deal with. You see what I mean? There's always a vicious cycle. Everything you do emits something that's bad, and you have to somehow deal with it. Look, we'll just really quickly skip through cycle 2. So it's like day and night cycles, right? So we've gone through our second full cycle, and we just have to keep going for as long as we can. It's much like Don't Starve, right? You know, like with the whole day and night cycle. Except at night, I don't think anything really bad happens. Like, you know, they just go to sleep, basically. Perfect. All right, that's done. So now we want to hook this wire up to it. Get it powered up. And then somebody can work on making dirt bars for these guys to eat. Man, they are going to enjoy that. Once all of these nice rations that they've been supplied with from the Federal Agency of Planetary Exploration, or whoever it is that sent them here, are depleted, it's on to the disgusting dirt bars. Perfect. Mush bar. Here we go. An edible, putrefied mud slop. Preferable to starvation, but only just barely. See what I mean? Dirt and bottled water. The effects are 1,000 calories, or whatever that is, kilocalories. I have no idea, but it may cause diarrhea. We're going to take the risk. We're going to fabricate a bunch of these and store them in the box. So, these guys have to go down and get some water. We're going to need to be able to access this water. So, we're going to have to probably build some tiles over here. You know what? We'll build some tiles here as well, and then we'll connect the ladder fully down here. So, this little platform will be used to come down and fetch the water. Just like the lady in the Jungle Book. Remember that cartoon, The Jungle Book? The movie? Or did you watch, like, the most recent movie? Anyway... There was a lady in that movie, in the animated one for sure, at the end, who was fetching a pail of water. Well, these guys have like some sort of extractor gun for the water. So instead of fetching a pail of water, they use like a gun, suck up a bunch of water into a bottle, and that's how they do it instead. So that, I mean, that works. You know, it's a bit of a different way of doing it, but we're not gonna judge too harshly, I don't think. You know, this is the future, after all, so, you know, we've moved on from water pails. We don't need that anymore. We have guns to do that job instead. and just as well. Yeah, it's a good thing. Okay, Ellie has delivered some more algae to the deoxidizer, which means that we're back in business with the, look at this, all of this very breathable air. It's nice. So we're producing very breathable air here. Hopefully it's rising up like these, where these ladders are, and hopefully a lot of the CO2, because it's heavier than air, is dropping down here and just forming up here. Look at this. Look at Stinky. What the hell is he doing? Look where he's trying to get the water from. He's gonna get stuck. Somebody's gonna get stuck down here. You have to watch out for these guys, okay? You can't trust them. If you're gonna do a tricky job like this, where there's like little gaps down here, look, somebody's definitely gonna get stuck down here, right? And it's gonna be the worst. And also, see this in here? This is all going to be carbon dioxide, and it's going to get stuck in here because we're effectively creating a vacuum by making these tiles here. We're just going to make sure that Fergus doesn't get stuck down here. Then we have to bail him out. These guys can die. I have to build graves for them if they die. It's a real sad state of affairs because you really rely on each and every one of these guys to do various jobs, like extract. Look at this. It's just like pinching a gigantic loaf. I love this thing. The microbe musher. Here it comes. Slowly, all of the dirt and the water is forming into a delicious bar of... there we go. It's a mush bar. It's unrefrigerated, and it's fresh as well. Hopefully somebody will come by and pick it up, shove it into the box. But if not, eating it right off the floor is probably not a terrible thing either. Gee whiz. Okay, so, as I was saying, all this carbon dioxide is going to get stuck in here. It's a bit of a vacuum. And it means that any carbon dioxide that's going to come down here is just going to sort of get stuck in this area instead. And this is where we're coming down to fetch water constantly. So I don't know if that's the greatest thing. But if we're really concerned about it, later on after we've researched it, we can get like an air scrubber. We can also get these things later on. See these algae terrariums? We can get these, and they're like little piles of algae. They're like little mountains of algae. And they recycle carbon dioxide, and then they turn it into a small amount of oxygen. So if this is going to be like a hotbed for CO2, we could set a couple of these up down here, make it safe for people to come down here and fetch water, and also produce some oxygen. So that might be an option as well. There's a couple of different options, but again, it's really early access. Probably not all of the things that are going to appear in the final version of the game. I'm sure there'll be like other options later on, but for now, it's not actually a bad one, right? It's like... probably works, so but we'll have to see. Anyway, Stinky is working on mush bars. Looks like Ellie is working really hard on getting the battery topped up so that this thing can keep running throughout the night while people are sleeping and stuff. And Fergus is just filling up the deoxidizer, and hopefully is going to work on the... We're missing sandstone somehow. How is this possible? Normally you have tons of this stuff. It's crazy. I guess we're going to have to do some more digging. We might as well dig this way. We're going to dig this way so that we can sort of get into this water eventually. And then we'll probably ladder up so that we can get to all of this algae. Because this is a real fucking bonanza of algae up here. See these? They're filled with carbon dioxide. This is actually a vacuum completely surrounded by copper. There's just no air in here right now. But once we bust in, the oxygen will go up there and it'll be fine. Be pretty breathable and stuff. The printing pod is going to supply us with a person. Just in time... for us probably to end. So we'll watch somebody come through here. You get a choice of 3 people. You pick one. You pick the person you think is the best. And then they turn up. And they're ready to rock and roll. Look at all this stuff is trapped down here. It's nice. Okay. And then we'll let these guys go. There we go. The printing pod. We got a new one. Who do we want? We got Spike. We got Brainan and Jack. It looks like Jack is a night owl, but he's got a gastrophobia. What's this? He's got 2. This duplicant has an unshakable fear of kitchens and the culinary arts. He cannot perform the job of cook. Biohazard, all the vitamin C in space can't stop this duplicant from getting sick. So this guy will have some sort of vomiting problem as well. Not the best. This person here, Brainan, is uncultured. He has no appreciation. Sorry, she has no appreciation for the finer things. Her decor expectation is very low. She won't do an art job. And she's also yokel, so she's not very smart. And Spike is a narcoleptic. Can and will fall asleep anytime, any place. That is not very good. But look at these attributes. The +1s, the +6 to digging is insane as well. Mole hands. These hands are great for tunneling, but finding gloves is a nightmare. And diver's lungs. Talented opera singer, air consumption rate is lower. So I think we'll probably go for Brainon, who has +8 medicine, digging, strength, and creativity. Isn't going to barf everywhere. Isn't going to fall asleep randomly and stuff. Probably the more consistent of the two, but with less attributes. But we need some more uncultured people on the colony. So Brainon, welcome aboard. And here she is, ready to get messy. She's ready to join Ellie, Fergus, and Stinky in their quest to build the greatest space colony of all time. Well, there you go. Another evening with Sips on. Possibly the best game I've played in a long while. I've really enjoyed this. This is definitely my type of game. I love games like this so much. Little management games where you get people to do things and build stuff and research things and stuff like that. Definitely my bag. I was really looking forward to this. I'm very, very pleased that I was given the key and the opportunity to play this in its early state. But it looks great, doesn't it? Like, even for a game that's in pre-alpha, this is fantastic. Like, there's definitely hours and hours of farting around, experimenting, tinkering and stuff to be had in this game. And I think it's only going to get better. I think as they add new stuff, if it's anything like Don't Starve, they'll have expansions and all sorts of extra stuff. And, oh, man, it's going to be great. It would be really nice later in the game. Like, for now, you can get electrical and gas and plumbing systems liquid plumbing systems. But man, imagine they had like, automatic drilling and resource conveyors and shit like that. I mean, it'd be like Dig and Rig, right? But like a brand new, like awesome Dig and Rig with little dudes running around and doing all these like different jobs and stuff. Man, that would be the dream. I don't know if that's what's in store, but holy crap. Like already I'm just really excited at the possibilities and the directions that this game could go. So there you go. Sorry, it was just a brief glimpse. There's a lot to actually show, but there's quite a bit here, as I was saying. So we can always come back to it later on. I'll definitely stream this. So if you like what you've seen here, make sure you join me for streams and check out Sips Live if you can't join the streams, because there'll be plenty of footage of me playing this there. Because it's fun to get in here, experiment, watch a bunch of people die. Watch 4 people idle as well while I just talk my head off, and other things. So there you go. Excellent. Well, I don't know I don't know when this will be available to get, but keep your eyes open on Steam. Keep an eye out if you're interested in this. And I don't know if they're going to do waves of invite to like the beta or anything like that. But if I get any info, I will let you know. Perfect. All right. Well, as usual, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time!